10:30 back on the Sports Fix. You're listening to ESPN Radio and ESPNGo1.com. Adam Reardon, Chris Doring, Scott Brantley with you on this Thursday morning. Talk a little Miami Hurricane football. Danny Money, CanesInsight.com, our guest, as he is each and every Thursday here on the show. Danny, good morning. How are you, my man?
Tremendous. How you guys doing?
Doing quite well. Well, yesterday was a very interesting day for Miami Hurricane football fans because you had a little good news, a little bad news. Let me start with the bad news first. George McDonald, who is the wide receivers coach at Miami, has apparently taken that same job at Arkansas. Talk about Coach McDonald and how big a loss this is for the football team. One, as a positions coach, and then two, as a recruiter, as most position coaches tend to be pretty decent recruiters.
Oh, in my opinion, he was the best coach on the staff as far as position coaches. Had NFL experience, really a craftsman, a technician, and did a lot of good work with these young receivers. As a recruiter, he was great as well. The good thing as far as Miami is concerned is that he wasn't in on a ton of guys this year. He had a much bigger role last year just because of the need at receiver last year. This year, he was recruiting Stacey Coley, although he wasn't necessarily the primary recruiter. He had a couple guys in Virginia that he was involved with, but really he had a smaller role this year. So a good recruiter, but fortunately, just because of the way it works out, his sudden departure is not going to really stir too many things up in terms of recruiting. But a big loss, always tough to lose a great coach like that. But this should be a somewhat desired position as far as the players coming back. So they should be able to get somebody good.
Now, let me ask you this question with, and I hate to disparage my own position, but as a wide receiver, I know that the wide receiver coach, in a lot of circumstances, is a little lower on the totem pole, and you can kind of fit some guys in to coach that position that may not necessarily have played there before. A guy that somebody, another Hurricane fan, mentioned to Adam and I this morning that would be an interesting hire, Mario Cristobal out there right now. Is there a chance that he gets brought in and maybe some reshuffling gets done in order to fit him in the current staff with the Hurricanes?
I just don't see it in terms of, ego. He has really no history with his coaching staff, so to bring in, another chief into the pot, I don't know how that would work. Golden and Cristobal, from what I understand, had a good relationship while he was the head coach, but again, no history of being on the same staff with any of the coaches, really. So I don't know if that's necessarily a fit. If he left kind of on some bad terms when he initially left the university, so there's still some bad blood there. But definitely he is a guy that can recruit, that knows the program, knows the area. I don't see it, but who knows? And nothing would surprise me.
Danny, it's good to see that Al Golden has pretty much locked up Mark D'Onofrio as the defensive coordinator. Of course, that friendship goes way back. I mean, associate for quite some time with Al. And what kind of worries me a little bit is, good coaches and good recruiters, and he's one of them, there's no doubt about it. But you think of the guys under him, and I think of Michael Barrow. He comes to mind. And I guarantee you, if I'm a coach out there with I'm talking one of the top 10, 15 teams, and I'm needing a linebacker coach or even a defensive coordinator, I'm starting to look at a guy named Michael Barrow because of the impact I think he's made on the lives of some young kids in the recruiting process down at Miami. And then everybody knows the name of Michael Barrow. He could become a good defensive coordinator one day somewhere else. I'm sure that'll happen, but how do you feel that happening anytime soon?
Michael Barrow, in my opinion, is probably the best recruiter on the staff. I mean, it's one thing to sell the kids on the university and to kind of, talk smooth to them, but he's a spiritual guy. He really gets close to these kids, gets close to their families. Like you mentioned, tries to help them as individuals. So he really is, I call him the big game, the big game hunter of the staff, because he goes after the big boys and really, really works them. He's as excellent as a recruiter, still, getting his way as a linebackers coach. He's just a very young coach. Yeah. Came straight from the high school scene onto the UF staff. He was an extremely smart player, a student of the game while he was a player. So now he's just learning the craft of being a coach and explaining all the stuff he knows from his long NFL career and obviously his career at the University of Miami to the players. So I think he's still developing, and the coach he is now is not the coach that he will be down the road. So I think the best thing for him is to continue what he's doing now, continue to work with these linebackers, continue to learn the craft of being a coach. And I think he does have a great future.
Good answer.
Danny Money, CanesInsight.com, our guest here on the Sports Fix, talking Miami Hurricane football. Now, let me talk about some more positive news for Miami fans yesterday. Junior college tight end Beau Sandland commits to Miami. Now, help me out here. Was he able to sign a letter of intent because he's a junior college transfer? And regardless of that fact or not, talk a little bit about this commitment and what that means for this offense next season.
Yeah, he did sign a letter of intent yesterday, so he signed, sealed, and delivered. And the fact that Miami's signing the number one junior college tight end in the country is going to remind a lot of people of Jeremy Shockey back in 2000. There's a similar player, not quite as fast as Shockey, maybe a little bigger, more physical, but a guy that pretty much any program in the country that needed an experienced tight end was after. Florida and LSU offered. He had some issues with a class that didn't allow him to sign with an SEC school, so Miami kind of backdoored their way into the sweepstakes. And then once they were in, Coach Golden, Coach Carroll, Coach Fish put a tremendous press on this guy, made him a very, very high priority. Visited California several times, and they were able to land. And really just did a great job changing his mind, selling him on the tight end tradition of the University of Miami. And this is a guy that's going to help the offense immediately. Now, before the season last year, Jed Fish talked about studying the Patriots offense and what they did with two tight ends, and he's just hoping to translate that to the University of Miami. Now, Clive Walford started a little slow, and the second tight end never really materialized, so that didn't happen. But by the end of the season, Clive Walford, if you look at the last 4 games, was as productive as any tight end in the country. He really came on strong, really started developing as a player. And now to add Sandland into the mix, maybe Jed Fish can start incorporating those concepts that he hoped to use from the New England Patriots into this offense.
You know, dealing with junior college signees, it can be enticing, but also it can be kind of a slippery slope on how quickly they can acclimate to the system and how much you can actually get out of that. Coaches, I think, have different opinions on how best to recruit and when to bring in junior college guys. What is Al Golden's typical philosophy in terms of I know he seems like he likes to build from the high school ranks mostly, but is he a guy that would consider signing more junior college guys in an effort to get the program maybe to the level where it needs to be quicker, or is he a guy that you look at kind of building for the long term and not being enticed by that quick fix too much?
Well, Miami already has a junior college commit in addition to Beau Sandland, who's Devontae Bond. Rivals ranks him as the number one weak side defensive end in the JUCO ranks, so someone coming in to help the pass rush. And they've been after quite a few junior college defensive tackles, so that has been a focus this year. Now, what's interesting is Coach Golden said that in his first 2 years, he really didn't want to recruit junior college players because he wanted to establish his culture, establish his foundation. And it's really tough to do that with kids that are coming in already with, more experience, coming in as 20-year-olds, having played at a somewhat, high level for a few years. They're coming in, it's like teaching an old dog new tricks, in effect. So Coach Golden wanted to bring in his guys, his foundational guys that he can establish his culture with. And then once that culture is established and that foundation is built, he'll supplement that with a junior college guy here or there that he identifies either as a particularly special talent or somebody that, fits a need. And I think you're seeing that this year with Beau Sandland. He's slotted right in there at tight end. He'll help the team next year. Devontae Bond, help the pass rush, which was anemic last year. And they're really trying to get a junior college defensive tackle to make them more physical up the middle, especially with a physical team like Florida coming in the second game of the season. They really want to get some help right away up the middle. So his philosophy is build with young guys, but once you have your culture in place, you can go ahead and get a JUCO guy to fill a need.
Danny, you've got about a minute left. I know one thing we hadn't discussed, and I think one of the key points this year with Al Golden's offense and with the coordinator and Jed Fish has been around the NFL so long, offensive line. And we heard Muschamp say this week about, hey, this is a line of scrimmage type of deal in college football right now. They got big guys. They got young guys. Young, big guys at offensive line is going to be critical for them this year.
Their offensive line should be a strength of the team. They bring back everybody, a lot of NFL talent. Last year, they were a tremendous pass-blocking line right up there with North Carolina and the ACC, another line with a lot of NFL players. The emphasis next year is going to be, can they become that physical run-blocking team that really gets those 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s, and really just pushes the other team around and plays to their size. Because the pass blocking is there, and certainly the talent is there.
Danny Money, CanesInsight.com, the best in the business covering the University of Miami. Check out the website, CanesInsight.com. As always, Danny, man, really appreciate your time and all of your work with us. Hey, man, have a happy holiday season, and we'll catch up with you in a couple weeks, my friend.
Likewise, guys. Have a happy holidays.
To you as well, Danny Money, CanesInsight.com.
Cinderella Henderson. Chantrell?
Well, I don't know if he'll be back. I wish we had more
Is he
time. I
coming
could
out?
ask him. I mean, he could certainly come out. Remember, he was the number one recruit in America coming out of high school out in Minnesota, and then ended up at USC for a little bit, or committed to USC, and then when they had the sanction issues, he was allowed to transfer to the University of Miami. We'll see if he comes back. If he does, that's a huge win for that offense. No question about that. Coming up next, we talk FSU football. Ira Schofel of the Tallahassee Democrat is coming up. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Sports Fix on ESPN Radio. You can always find us online at ESPNGo1.com.
The Ocala Poker and Highlight have all new hours. All